is a known landslide. What?
All right, good morning, everybody. It is 11:37, and we're going to start the pre-commission agenda. Starting with the president's report, I do not have one. Moves us to general housekeeping items. Any housekeeping items from the commission? And any discussion on potential future agenda items? Okay, so that would move us to the director's report. Director Wong.
Commissioners, good morning. A couple things to start off with. I'd like to let you know that today is a very special day again. Today, Ryan Head is celebrating his birthday, and there'll be another cheesecake down here as we move forward. So at your break, if you come down and celebrate with him, we'd greatly appreciate it. I'd also like to let you know that this is Bike Week here across the area. We have several things planned. In front of you, you have the brand new bike map that we'll be handing out. Across here, you might recognize the individual on the front, no longer a member of the Ada County Highway District, but just a tremendous gentleman. On Friday, it's Bike to Work Day. So Commissioner Goldthorpe, we are looking forward to seeing you again in the outfit and stuff. So we're going to be, ACH Commuter Ride will be at Esther Simpson Park along the Greenbelt from 7 to 9 a.m. Learn about May in Motion, bicycle commuting, and ACH's Get There Safely campaign. We'll be providing coffee and pastries. Will be out for the public. On Saturday, the Association Mobility Summit meeting is planned, block party, and we will be there with a table from 11 to 4 p.m. With several updates on projects from the State Street 8th to 14th concept study public involvement period, the North Boise pavement and pedestrian improvement project, and the upcoming chip seal effort. And Commissioner Gold is the scheduled guest speaker for this, and so it should be an absolutely great event. I want to let you know that we finished this week the annual ACHD vehicle inspection. All 440 of them, and I'm here to let you know that your fleet team and your operators are doing a tremendous job of maintaining that very, very expensive fleet operation. In the past, the commissioners, when we did the vehicle inspection criteria, the annual one, we would have write-ups that were about this tall on operations. I am very proud to let you know that due to maintenance's tremendous efforts and our operators' tremendous efforts, the write-ups are about like this as we move forward. So they've done a great job, and we will be announcing the best in categories at next week's all-staff for all the operations. Then finally, Commissioners, I'd like to remind you that today is National Police Memorial Day, and I know there are several ceremonies going around the area. So that's with that, Commissioners, that's my update. Do you have any questions?
Yes.
Commissioner Goldthorpe.
The all-staff is when you're going to be describing the most creative of the vehicle inspections. Well, if we're not there, you need to save that. I mean, you need to give it to us in the commission meeting as well.
More than happy to.
We were told there's a chance we might not be available.
Over to all of you. Anything else? Commissioner, then I invite you to take a break and come down and Ryan, if you'd do the honors, please.
Thanks, Director. We'll be at you until noon. hello everybody. It is now 12 o'clock. I will call the meeting to order. Welcome everybody in person and online, and please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, the first order of business is to adopt the agenda. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Next order of business is to adopt the consent agenda. Items on the consent agenda are considered routine and are action items unless otherwise noted. The consent agenda is enacted by one motion. There is no separate discussion on items on the consent agenda. If a commissioner or citizen would like, they may request any item be removed from the consent agenda and placed on the regular agenda. Do we have any such requests? Okay, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Madam President, I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion passes. That moves us to the regular agenda. First item is the National Public Works Week Proclamation, which I will read. Whereas the infrastructure of our communities serves as the foundation of our society, ensuring the health, safety, and well-being of all citizens, and whereas dedicated men and women at all levels of government and the private sector lace up their boots, zip up their high-vis, and climb into their high-powered equipment, working diligently behind the scenes to improve and protect our nation's transportation, water supply, water treatment, and solid waste systems. Whereas public works professionals in our great country come together with their individual skills and expertise to plan, build, and maintain this critical infrastructure, advancing quality of life for all Ada County residents. And whereas National Public Works Week provides an opportunity to recognize and express gratitude for the invaluable contributions of these public works experts who work diligently to create and maintain a high quality of life for all users. And whereas the wheels of progress turn only through their commitment to innovation, collaboration, and excellence, as these professionals continuously strive to address the evolving needs and challenges of our communities, ensuring equitable access to essential services and infrastructure for every individual. Whereas it is in the public interest for citizens, civic leaders, and children in Ada County to gain knowledge and maintain ongoing interest and understanding of the importance of public works, first responders, and public works programs in their respective communities. And now, therefore, we, the Board of Ada County Highway District Commissioners, do tip our hard hats in honor of these unsung heroes and hereby proclaim May 19th through 25th as National Public Works Week with the theme Advancing Quality of Life for All. We urge all citizens to join us in expressing appreciation for the dedication and expertise of our public works professionals and in recognizing the vital role they play in shaping the present and future of our communities. All right, is there a motion?
Madam President, I would move that the Commission adopt the 2024 National Public Works Week Proclamation.
Second that.
All right, there's a motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right.
Madam President, if I may, just I'd like to add my recognition for the great people that we have here at ACHD. We've got a huge force of really skilled, top-notch people, and they deserve this kind of appreciation.
Agree. Yes, very good. All right, so item 2 on the agenda is fiscal year 2024 Q2 impact fee program balance presentation by Christine Tandler.
Good morning, Madam President, Commissioners. This is an information briefing. For the record, Christine Tandler, Budget Manager. I'm here to present to you the second quarter impact fee program balance for FY24. We began the fiscal year with an $8.5 million program balance. Collected just about $12 million, had some minimal expenses, ending our second quarter balance at $19.7 million. Our main projects currently are in design, Amity, segment and intersection, as well as McMillan roundabout. On the extraordinary impact fees, we do have a beginning balance of, that bottom number is wrong, $3.3 million and just about $3.5 million at the end of second quarter for extraordinary impact fees. just to authorize the resolution 2331 previously and the impact fee program balance of 19.7 million. I will stand for questions. I don't think I have that.
Madam President.
Commissioner McKinney.
Christine, just a quick question. You mentioned, you listed 3 projects there that are under design that are impact fee eligible. What do we have currently under construction that is impact fee eligible, and what are the anticipated impact fee usage of those projects?
Expenses, Madam President, Commissioner McKinney. So yes, these projects, the main project that we had for construction this year that's impact fee eligible was the Lake Hazel and Eagle intersection, and the Lake Hazel Eagle to, excuse me, Eagle Lake Hazel to Amity portion. So that was pushed into FY25. So that's where we'll see most of those expenses. There are some additional projects that we are constructing. I can get a list of those projects for you. But our main use that we were planning on originally for impact fee usage this year was that Eagle Road portion.
Okay, so I guess looking at that 19.7 million balance at the moment, is the bulk of that likely then to carry over into next year?
Absolutely, yeah. So, Madam President, Commissioner McKinney, yeah. So the impact fee program balance is shown as a reserved fund on our financials, and it is something that we calculate and we program with our annual budget process.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? All right, thank you, Christine. All right, next item on the agenda is key number 24382, Fairview Avenue, Garden Street to Whitewater Boulevard Bridge Replacement Project Development, state local agreement with the Idaho Transportation Department. Welcome, Tom Furch.
Good afternoon, President Gold and members of the commission. My name is Tom Furch. I'm ACHD's Transportation Funding Coordinator, and this is a decision briefing on the state and local agreement with ITD for the Fairview Avenue Bridge. The location of the bridge, as the crow flies from where we're located, just a little under a mile away from us. The connector is directly south, and Main Street is directly north of this location. Fairview Avenue is part of a couplet with Main Street, with traffic flowing west to east on Fairview and east to west on Main Street. The Fairview Avenue bridge over the Boise River is in fact 2 bridges, built many years apart but function as a single structure. It is interesting to note that following the construction of the Fairview Avenue Bridge that was built by C.F. Dinsmore and Company, they are the same company that built the North Fork Payette Bridge, more commonly known as the Rainbow Bridge. Per the district engineer, there are several reasons why the bridges need to be replaced. The bridge design is susceptible to scouring of the piers and abutments during the Boise River's annual spring runoff. Scouring is the removal or erosion of sand and riverbed sands from around the piers and abutments. Without regular maintenance, scouring can lead to damage to the structure of the bridge. Inspections of the 2 adjacent structures have identified cracking and corrosion in several of the bridge elements. Maintenance on the bridge joints between the 2 structures and expansion joints is nearly a continuous process. And the bridge's bearings are corroded and will need to be replaced in the future. Here's an overhead view. If you look closely, you can see there's a difference between the top portion and the lower portion. The structures, those are the 2 separate bridges. Herbert Hoover was president when the south portion of this Fairview Avenue Bridge was built, and Gerald Ford was president when the north portion was built.
Commissioner Goldthorpe remembers both of them.
Wasn't that funny, Dave?
As I mentioned, scouring can lead to damage to the structure of the bridge and requires periodic maintenance. Significant scouring occurred from the prolonged 2017 Boise River flood, which required the placement of riprap, which you can see in this picture. This maintenance project was funded at the time with a $139,000 grant that was received through the state. This bridge improvement project will evaluate and design a replacement Fairview Avenue bridge with a similar west to east traffic flow and a design that will match the existing street configuration. Bike lane facilities will meet ACHD's level 1 or 2 level of traffic stress per the livable street design metrics. Also, bike and pedestrian facilities will be included with improved access to the Greenbelt. ACHD's goal is to replace this gateway bridge with an architecturally significant structure that will serve the people of Ada County for the next 100 years. Preparing for a competitive federal grant requires a well-developed design and a record of public support for the project. This design effort will positively position the Fairview Avenue Bridge project for a competitive federal grant, such as a RAISE grant or a Bridge Investment Program grant. The scale of the Fairview Avenue Bridge project and the significant amount of environmental work required for this project makes federal funding a preferred option. Working with ITD is also necessary to receive the appropriate environmental approval with either local or federal funds. Advanced construction funding language in this project development agreement allows ACHD to seek federal reimbursement for locally funded project development costs. Staff recommends approve the state and local agreement between ACHD and ITD and authorize Commission President to sign the agreement. And that concludes my presentation. I will stand for questions.
Thanks, Tom. Are there any questions?
Madam President?
Commissioner McKinney?
Yes, Tom, just quickly, my understanding here is that the 1.8 million in advanced construction funding, this is coming from ITD, and is not out of our pocket initially. Is that correct?
President Gold, Commissioner McKinney, this is local funds. $1.8 million is ACHD funding. The way we drafted the agreement, advanced construction, identifying that as advanced construction with federal highways allows us to use federal funds as they become available. This is a maintenance project, so if any STVG TMA funding became available, we could use excess funds, could go towards this project.
Okay, so what's happening is that we are upfront spending this money, but if we can get federal funding, that can be reimbursed through the federal funding if we get it for the project.
Madam President, Commissioner McKinney, that is correct.
So it's kind of speculative at the moment, and we're looking at probably what, a 6 or 8 year time frame for this to really happen. What I mean is from this point forward until something's actually finished, it's likely to be a fair number of years. From my perspective, my understanding and knowledge of the project, I'm just going out to 2027 for the design. I think as we go through the design process, the construction years and what those years would look like will come into focus. Okay, and then it looks like the south portion of the bridge, the older portion, is a reinforced concrete, and the northern portion is with steel beams. Is that the comment about the bearings made me think that there are 2 different structure types. Is that correct?
Madam President and Commissioner McKinney, I would be going out on a limb that I'm not comfortable with on that. I think you're right, but if somebody wanted to comment, I'm not sure. But yes, I believe there are bearings on one portion of it, but they are in their condition is deteriorating, and that they would require a replacement, which I think is extensive in a sense of lifting the structure and all that.
Okay. Great. Thank you. I think that's all my questions.
Commissioner Hanson?
Madam President, and yeah, thanks, Tom. We want this to last for 100 years. This is the first major bridge ACHD will be doing. The last bridge, I think, was ITD's bridge. We can't predict when the long-range transportation plan that Compass has developed will have high-capacity transit, probably light rail coming across the river. We can't predict where that location is. But what I'd like to see is, I think it's absolutely critical that the bridge have the capacity to have that weight on it. I think we've seen that in other cities that have relatively new bridges. They then build their transit. They've got to get over rivers or over freeways, and they find all of their bridges did not contemplate that, even though they ought to have. We don't know if that's going to be in 10 years when Ada County reaches 1 million people, or 20 years when it reaches 2 million people, or 30 years when it reaches 3 million people. We know that in the future, the only way to ensure people can move around in a dense urban environment is you've got to have high capacity transit as part of that. And so I would ask that we make sure in that design that it include the ability to take the weight and the design of a future high capacity transit. Is that possible to make sure that's in the agreement?
Madam President and Commissioner Hanson, we've taken a note. We'll definitely, that'll be something that the planning department will be considering when they're working through the concept.
I think that's really critical. Also, FTA may have funds to help supplement in addition to FHWA. So there's maybe another source of funds. It's just kind of a no-brainer. If something, it's going to cost a lot of money in the future, and we can reduce that cost today. Commissioners 10 years, 20 years, 30 years from now will appreciate that capacity is already there. And we don't have to build a separate bridge or tear down a brand new bridge, so that this does last as long as President Hoover lasted. So I just want to make sure that's in there. He lived to be in his 90s.
All right, any other comments? Okay, is there a motion on this?
I'll make that motion. I would move that we approve key number 24382, the Fairview Avenue, Garden Street to Whitewater Boulevard Bridge replacement.
I'll second the motion and hope that my comments were taken into consideration for the consideration of the grant.
Great, there's a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Next item is authorization, order of condemnation, Fairview Avenue and Locust Grove Road, ACHD project number 320012, parcel 66. Welcome, David Serdar, and I will open the public hearing on this.
Thank you, Madam President, Commissioners. For the record, David Serdar, right-of-way supervisor for the Ada County Highway District. This is a condemnation decision briefing and public hearing for a property on our Fairview to Locust Grove intersection project. The owner of the property is McFadden, 1560 East Carroll Street, LLC. This project is part of ACHD's integrated 5-year work plan. Construction is scheduled to begin in fiscal year 28. Here is a vicinity map of the location. As you can see, we are just north of Fairview here. This is over to the right is the Fred Meyer. Just to the south of this property is the Walgreens. The amount of the acquisition is 1,354 square feet, and the permanent easement is 53 square feet. As you can see here, the acquisition is in kind of the purple color, and the permanent easement is in the green. Property size before the acquisition is 0.350 acres. After the acquisition, the property size is 0.31 acres. It is important to note that the zoning and the use in this is commercial, and it's a limited office zoning. ACHD has been negotiating with the property owner since February of 2023. ACHD initially attempted through contact through mailing and calling. When the contact was made, concerns expressed by the property owner dealt with well locations and the potential loss of those wells. ACHD researched the well issues and worked to communicate with the property owner. Since that time, there's been multiple attempts to make contact with the property owner to no avail and discuss working towards a resolution on the issues. ACHD staff is asking to move forward with the condemnation so we can keep the budget execution on schedule. It is staff recommendation that we declare the acquisition area necessary for the project as a right-of-way and public use, authorize staff to proceed with the condemnation action, execute an order of condemnation for the acquisition area. As always, ACHD staff and legal will negotiate with the property owner if we find a willing negotiator that comes back to the table. I will remain standing for any questions.
Any questions? Commissioner Coulter?
Dave, I'm curious, where are the wells located in this?
The well is right about where, if you see where the arrow comes in, where it says right-of-way requirement, it's probably just a couple of feet off of that, kind of towards that corner right there.
Interesting place to drill a well.
You know, we've seen it a decent amount. There's wells all over the place.
Okay. Commissioner McKinney?
Yes, thanks. So Dave, continuing on the well question. So just to clarify, there is an existing well and it's restricted for irrigation use only. And the property owner will have the right to, even though it's now within the right-of-way, or excuse me, they'll have a right to drill another well outside of the right-of-way to replace that one. Is that what the agreement is?
Yeah, Madam President, Commissioner McKinney, yes, that is what ACHD staff researched. They will be able to drill a well for irrigation uses, which is what this well is for as it stands now.
And so is the cost of that contemplated within our negotiations and offered to the property owner?
Madam President, Commissioner McKinney, yes, we do those types of, we reimburse the property owner for those types of activities as part of the negotiation.
All right.
Oh, sorry.
Thanks.
Madam President, Commissioners, for the record, Steve Price, General Counsel. As David mentioned, it's fairly typical in some neighborhoods that a lot of people have irrigation wells. They've had them for a long time, just a small domestic well. When we find them in a project, we have to relocate them. It's called a cost of cure. It's part of the severance damages. And in those cases, what we typically do is require them to get 3 bids for the relocation of the well. And then we compensate them for that, and then they get to make the arrangements to have the new well done. So our staff, we're not out there doing well dredging and things like that. So that's how we deal with those in the situation. And it's obviously been part of the compensation in the discussion. It's probably one of the main points. This is a small, straightforward take. You don't have a highest and best use issue. You don't really have any proximity damages. The only big one is the cost of cure, and that's the well.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Commissioner Coulter?
Yeah, that was my question. Thank you.
Commissioner Hanson?
Yeah, Madam President and Dave, I noticed from the design that was in the packet, that this, both is it Fred Meyer across the street and this street will become, will cease to be a full access. It'll actually become a right in, right out. Is that the way the design is? Because they can't take left turns out of there. So it'll, part of the design for which we need that property is also going to limit access to right in, right out on that property. Is that correct?
Madam President, Commissioner Hanson, that is correct.
Okay, so does that then get calculated in the value of the property when we're compensating them? Because that's another thing that the design, as well as the take, is going to reduce the value of the property for whatever reason to just right in, right out. So.
Okay.
Madam President, members of the commission, sorry to step in here. I just wanted to clarify something on the record. The access restrictions at this location exist today. So it's not right in, right, it's not just right in, right out. There's actually, we call it a 3/4 access, right in, right in, right in, right out. But we also allow the left in onto Carroll Street. So there's some, it's a unique situation because it's so close to the intersection. We are essentially replacing what is there today. And access in this situation would not be compensable anyway, but in this situation, we are not modifying the access to this area.
Oh, okay. I needed that clarification. Thank you.
Okay, great. Any other questions? Is there anybody in person or online who would like to testify on this issue? Okay, no? All right, well, with that, I will close the public hearing. And is there a motion on this?
Madam President, I move that we approve the authorization order of condemnation for Fairview Avenue and Locust Grove Road ACHD project number 320012, parcel 66.
I'll second that.
All right, there's a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Thank you. Okay, that moves us to discussion items on public communications. Is there anybody in person or online who would like to address the commission? Seeing none. Oh, no. Okay, seeing none, we are adjourned. Now on to our post-commission agenda. First work session is the 2024 chip seal presentation by staff. We have Mr. Lord Carnegie here. Welcome.
Afternoon, President Gold and fellow commissioners. For the record, my name is Lloyd Carnegie. I'm the maintenance manager here at ACHD, and joining me are the superintendents of the operations. We have Bobby Amadon, which is the superintendent of Adams, Rich Shaw, superintendent of Cloverdale, as well as Heather Riddle, which is the superintendent of USTIC. All these operations will be a part of our chip seal operation this year. And in honor of our National Asphalt Day today, we are here to present information regarding our 2024 chip seal program. To start things off, we have a short video regarding chip seal.
Chip seal is a pavement treatment preservation. It serves two purposes. The first purpose is it seals the asphalt pavement, and then the chips add a friction course. This allows the pavement to age slower.
This year, we're able to go to 2 crews. We have the resources to be able to do that. With that, we can cover more lane miles and reach our goal of doing 490 lane miles this year. For our chip sealing crews, they are very dynamic, a lot of moving parts. We call it our ballet. And so we have some very experienced leaders that have done chip seal before, that understand all the different moving parts, and they can make sure that all of our trucks are in the right places, our chip spreader is organized, all distributors know where they need to spray and where they need to go fill up, so everything keeps moving and flows appropriately. They work well with our flagging contractors to ensure that our crews are safe as well as the traveling public.
So why is it efficient and effective here is in Idaho, we do have plenty of raw materials. One of the biggest benefits of it is that we can put the chip seal down and we can open it to traffic within a few minutes sometimes. The traffic actually helps embed the chips into the overall process. So cost-wise, it is very effective and very reasonable. Having our in-house crews apply it, having our own pits where we can mine the chips, it makes it extremely cost-effective for this area, and that helps in the pocketbook for the residents. Ripping up asphalt and repaving takes years sometimes. This process goes down quickly, minimal impact. We have the traffic moving pretty much within minutes sometimes of when it goes down.
A citizen comes up to our operations, we just ask that they watch the signs, obey the flaggers. They will see a lot of equipment and manpower moving around, so take it slow. This is a process that is a little dusty, but we ask that you pardon our dust as we work through and make sure that the roads are maintained, and we do this preventative maintenance on the roadway to make them last longer and in good condition.
Okay. So a lot of times we get asked, why do we chip seal? So this diagram here we call as a fin diagram, and it shows the average lifespan of a roadway once it's been paved and its degradation as it ages. So an average road could go anywhere from 12 to 15 years and gets to within 12% of its life. And there's many different treatment types that you can do on that roadway to bring it back up to excellent condition. You can do a full reconstruction, you can do a mill and overlay, or you can do a chip seal. Our preventative maintenance strategy, which I'd like to highlight that we did win this year, the 2024 ISSA Excellence in Pavement Preservation Award for our preventive maintenance strategy, where we use chip seal. We're able to do more applications of chip seal at a cheaper rate, and it prolongs the life of that road for longer. As you can tell from this diagram, we can do 2 to 3 chip seals on a road, and it lasts longer than if you did a mill and overlay, which costs 9 times the price of a chip seal. So it's a very effective strategy. We're also able, our crews are very experienced and knowledgeable in chip seal, that we are able to do over 450 lane miles in a year, which is more than most any agency within North America. So our strategy here is a map showing all 7 different zones. So every year we go into one of these zones. We will crack seal all the cracks, and we will chip seal 100% of the arterial and collector roadways and 50% of the residentials. So that equates to every 7 years, every arterial and collector roadway will be crack sealed and chip sealed, and every 14 years the residential streets will have a crack seal and a chip seal done to it. That preventive maintenance strategy has led to the great pavement condition index that we have here of very good roads. So our plan this year, we're excited to say we're going back to 2 chipping crews, and we'll have also 1 fog seal crew. So we're very excited to get out there and start working this year. We have a soft start date of Tuesday, May 28th. That's right after the May long weekend. What the soft start is we spend the majority of the day in training. We have a lot of new operators, so we're going to take a lot of time to train and explain all the different aspects of chip seal and what their role is. And then when we're done the training, they actually go out on site, they get the equipment positioned, and we have kind of a soft start, a slow start, so everybody get comfortable. We also have new contractors on board with us for flagging, so we're also training them on how to keep the safe operations for not only our staff, but also for the vehicle public. So that's what the soft start is. We are prioritizing our arterials and collectors. We're going to get 100% of those done, and 50% of residential schools, focusing on the schools, newly paved roads, and roads not chipped the last cycle 7 years ago. The reason why we do newly paved roads is studies have shown that within that 2 to 4 year period, if you can get in and chip seal, that seals that road, and it lasts a lot longer than if you wait for the 7 or 8 years. So quick cost overview, total anticipated cost is $8.5 million. That includes all our labor, equipment, and materials to do the chip seal process. We're anticipating almost 50,000 team hours that go into this, a lot of manpower, a lot of work. We have an amazing team that puts a lot of effort into it this summer. Once we've planned and focused all our roads, we're up to 439 lane miles for this summer, which will equate to almost 8,000 tons of liquid asphalt and 42,000 tons of aggregate chips going down this year. So to quickly describe the process of chip seal, the first and foremost and the most important is our broom crew that goes out. So for every lane mile that our chipping crew chips a road, our sweepers are generally doing 3. They have to go out with the initial sweep. It's very important that we get all that dust and debris off that roadway, because if it's not removed, when the emulsion goes down, it doesn't adhere to the roadway properly, and you can have that potential of peeling. So it's very crucial that our broom crew goes out there initially and gets all the debris off. They do a great job. Once it's been chipped, they also come back after, about 4 to 5 days after, and any chip that has not been embedded in the emulsion, they sweep that excess chip off. And then they also come back after fogging and resweep it before they go into any painting of lines. So they touch every road 3 times to every one, but they're very crucial to our operation. Then we have our chip sealing crew. We like this picture because it really shows how the operation is done. As you can tell, we do go in the opposite direction of traffic. We find that is the most safest and efficient manner to chip seal, as you have that lead truck that is able to push the vehicles into the safe lane that will go around our operation, and you have flaggers staged along to keep them in that safe lane. And because this is a very fast, mobile, moving operation, we can take that flow against traffic, and it's the most efficient manner. As you can tell, we have that lead truck, which is usually our crew chief or lead worker that's setting the pace for the operation. Then we have our distributor truck that dispenses the emulsion at a set rate. And right behind that is our chip spreader, which they've looked at the emulsion as it goes down. They know when it's going to break, and that's generally where the chip spreader is starting, laying the chip. And then we have all our trucks that feed that chipper box as they go. It's impressive to watch our drivers, the skill that they have to be able to back into that chipper box, going backwards and on the fly hook up. And it's just a great operation. After it's been chipped and then they swept up all the excess, we have our fogging crew that will come in. And the fogging serves 2 purposes. The first and foremost is it seals in the chips. It lessens the amount of loose chips coming off in the years to come. Plus, it adds an additional seal to that roadway, so all the elements don't go through. Plus, it also adds a new canvas for those roads that need line painting. We've also taken advantage of this fog seal on the new canvas to be able to add turn lanes or bike lanes or other aspects that make it more usable friendly for all types of users. So once it's been fog sealed, we then have the paint crew, and they come down and put new paint markers on, and they do a very impressive job as doing that operation. So preparation for chip seal doesn't just start in May. It actually, we're in the dead of winter, we're already talking and making preparation. So when we had that wonderful snow in January, we were already talking about how are we going to chip seal this year. So we have our coordination meetings with all our team members as well as other departments. We also talk with ITD and our traffic control, and we go through kind of how are we going to do it this year. And we also meet with HOAs and affected neighborhood associations. So we met with Hidden Springs. They have a few special events going on that we had to coordinate with them as how we were going to chip seal and where, so they know where they could park vehicles. And then we also met with the North End Neighborhood Association, as the big impact will be that North End. We had another major coordination meeting on May 2nd, where again, we met with our traffic folks, we met with our maintenance folks, ITD, our different contractors. New this year, we have 2 flagging contractors on with us. We have Specialty and Bighorn. It's going to be a great coordination so that it's not all on one company to get us as many flaggers as they can to help keep us safe. They experienced the same issues we had of trying to get people on. And so by having 2 companies, we'll be able to fill in those gaps. And it's going to be a great partnership this year. And then we met with GIS, our bicycle coordination team, and ITD, and we have a good coordination going. We're here today giving you the commission this presentation so you guys are knowledgeable of what we're doing and how we're going to be doing it. And then we have tomorrow, a lot of our operations are going out to Ergon Asphalt, which is our asphalt supplier, where they do a training day. The plant's shut down, they come out, we get to see where everything's situated, they understand where they pull in to fill up, how the orientation of the plant is, and it's all done in a safe environment. And then plus they get to know who the dispatches are, who they need to call when they get on site. It adds to that safety and efficiency of the operation. We were going to be meeting with the Sheriff's Office Dispatch Station tomorrow as well, but due to conflicts, we're going to have to reschedule that, so it's going to be at a later date, but we do meet with them. They do field a lot of our calls, and so that with them having that information, they can answer a lot of those questions, and then all the police departments help if there's signs down or something, they help let us notify us that, so more eyes and ears on the road. And then again, we have our May 28th training and soft start date. So We have the kind of the schedule starts off at May 28th. Again, we do want to take enough substantial time because we have that a big consideration regarding the experience levels that we have. Last year was one of the, many new employees that it was their first year chip sealing. We have another probably 30 employees this year that this is their first year chip sealing. And so we want to take that time to make sure they understand the process and they know where everybody's supposed to be. And so we can have safe operations on the road. June 19th, we will not be chip sealing in lieu of Juneteenth holiday. So we again appreciate the commission for giving us that Juneteenth holiday. We also do not chip seal the July 4th holiday week, as there's so many events that go on that it's just better that we don't chip seal. We take the time to clean our equipment and do other projects that we need to quickly get done in that 1 week. Our estimated completion date is August 30th. And we will continue on with fog sealing, which we anticipate about a week and a half later. They will have fog sealing done. They will not be fog sealing on Labor Day, so that's another day that they will not be out. And then estimated completion of striping will be September 19th. And we do have our planned chip seal victory party, which you are all welcome to attend, and that's going to be on September 26th. So with any program, communication is key. This year, I think it's highlighted more than any other because of the section and area that we're going to be in, the denseness of it and the grid pattern that it is. So we have a great communication strategy that our communications team has worked with us. We have a lot of our printed advertisements. You all have on your desk a copy of our chip seal mailer. This went out to everybody in the affected area. So they have all, a quick snapshot of what's going to be going on. If they wanted more information, there's a website that they can go to. Our website includes our interactive map, which we really try to direct people to see, as it shows all the roads that we have planned for this year and how we are working through that procession. It shows that when it's been swept, when it's been chipped, when it's been fogged, and so they can actually see the progress and see when we're going to be in their area. Our crews have door knockers that as they go through, they put door knockers usually several days in advance, letting people know, hey, we're going to be in your area closer to this date, so people can anticipate and park their vehicles where they need to park them so they're out of our way. Social media is a big tool that we use. Our communications team does an amazing job putting that information out there. We have the great videos that are being put together so people understand the process, so they understand what needs to be done when we're in their area. So it's a great tool. We have Rita that we have all that information so they can know what's being done. And we have collaboration with city leadership, sanitation companies. We want to make sure that we communicate with them of what days they're going to be picking up garbage so we can coordinate. HOAs and neighborhood associations, we've already had several meetings with them. And ITD, we have several of our roadways do impact some ITD roadways, so we have been close communication with them as to how we can do the traffic control and what days we can do this operation, and that they're fully aware of it. And then, as we discussed earlier, the Sheriff's Dispatch Office, we keep them up to date with weekly meetings and information that's passed on to them so they know exactly where we're going. That same meeting, our communications team is in, and so they also push out weekly updates of what's going on and how our procession is going. So this year we are in preventative maintenance zone 5, which is the northeast end. It goes all the way from Highway 55 to Blacks Creek, from the river all the way to the northeast border. And so that's the area that we will be chip sealing, except for the downtown core. That is done through a slurry seal and a micro seal program. We would like to also invite anyone that would love to come in and do a ride along with our crews. It's a great perspective, and you get to see what their view is as they're doing the chip seal. Plus, they just really appreciate when the elected officials come out and spend the day with them. They get to ask questions, and it's just a great time by everybody. So I highly encourage and would love to have you guys come out, and we can organize that for you. And with that, I'll stand for any questions.
Commissioner Hansen?
Yeah, thank you. Lloyd, this is great. As you know, last year it was tough not to stand up 2 crews. So there's this little anticipation of, all the local roads, instead of 50%, all of the local roads weren't addressed. So I guess it's a little too late to figure out how do we get some of the ones that really need it before 7 years. We're just gonna let them all go until 7 years from now for that, but there's no overlap and to catch some of the worst local roads that we weren't able to do last year.
President Gold, Commissioner Hanson, that's a good question. There's definitely going to be a strategy with our pavement management group as roads, conditions of roads may deteriorate, that we might have to do a different kind of strategy. I do know that they're looking at slurry seal. And when we finish a zone and chip sealing, they might come in and do some roads that really need it with a slurry seal. And we're also looking at, once we have the U-stick fully staffed, we can have that third chip seal crew that might aid in doing certain areas. But currently, yes, we will just follow the same program. And when we get back into that zone, those roads that we did miss will get caught at that time.
Great. Well, I'm really glad there's the second crew this year. Last year also, and I haven't noticed this in the past, but after we went out there, chip sealed, got it all red, and then painted, and then the paint didn't stand up in the winter, and the paint faded. Now they've gone out and repainted a lot of the areas. It's like, was that a problem with the paint or the application or what? The paint just didn't stand up. We have quite a number of teleces and requests that paint be replaced. And they're out there now in Zone 4, repainting the area that just didn't weather very well.
Madam President, Commissioner Hanson, it's a combination of a lot of things. Probably the best answer is it's a combination of a lot of things. It's a combination of how we do our winter maintenance, how we were able to apply the paint this last year, how this is, we are working on this and looking at this, increasing our paint crew as has been approved, is helpful to that. And so we are, as well as we're working with maintenance to coordinate on how do we address the maintenance, and when the plows hit, it does pull up a lot of that, and that's a pretty standard issue everyone faces, but this year does seem like it was a little bit worse, and we're working on that.
I wondered if it might have been just the quality of the paint that we got from wherever we bought our paint.
Madam President, Commissioner Hanson, no, the quality of the paint goes through a testing period to make sure it meets all the specifications. This last year, because of the short staff and the amount of paint, there was the standard practices to double coat the paint. They were only able to single coat the paint this last year, so that's one of the issues. The kind of winter we had an impact, and so the amount of plowing that had to occur also had an impact on that. And so the combination of those two things kind of made for a perfect storm.
Great. Well, I appreciate that. This year we have 2 teams and 2 coats of paint. Great. And then the last, of course, I think we'll probably address it because Warm Springs is that terrible pinch point. East End is obviously anticipating chip seal with trepidation, but they are also recognizing that Warm Springs will be closed at Starview shortly when school's out. So I assume we can work around that. I'm sure that's probably the most complicated area because there's so many events that happen over at the garden and on Warm Springs. But I appreciate you navigating that because it's like the point of the funnel.
Commissioner McKinney?
Lloyd, just a couple of quick questions. I know that once we got into kind of the COVID era, there were supply chain issues, and of course we've also had inflation. Do we have any issues with obtaining materials for our chip seal program? And what's kind of what have been the inflation effects on the costs of doing our chip seal this year compared with past years?
President Gold, Commissioner McKinney, in regards to costs, back on one of our slides, we had the 23 cents per square foot for chip sealing. That has increased. It was 21 cents. So there is a slight inflation for the materials as well as equipment and manpower. In regards to supply, we don't see any issues regarding our liquid asphalt We have all the 1/4-inch chip that we need for this year. Our 3/8, we just came to the commission last week and got approval to go to the open market to get that 3/8 chip, which we do already have a pit that's willing to supply that. So we're looking really good for the materials.
Okay, good. You'll be working in the North Bench, Boise area, and there's a lot of steep roads. Are there any special considerations that you have to make for chip sealing those steeper roadways?
President Gold, Commissioner McKinney, there is operationally how we do those chipping, and I leave that up to our operational experts. I believe it's going downhill is better than going uphill, but we do make sure that when we chip seal, we pay close attention to those roads with loose chips and whatnot. So there is a slight dynamics, but our crews are always being aware and keeping a good eye on them.
Okay, good. That was really just for my information. You alluded to the area that we're chipping and that it includes some state highways. So are we chip sealing Highway 44? Is that included in it?
President Gold, Commissioner McKinney, sorry, I must have presented it wrong, but we have roads that connect up to a state road. So because we're getting close to a state road, we have to coordinate with them when it comes to traffic control, but we are not chip sealing any state roads.
Oh, okay. All right, good. And so this, then stepping back kind of the beginning part of your presentation about the advantages and the necessity of chip sealing, what's the practical limit for the number of times that you can chip seal a given road before it has to be repaved?
President Gold, Commissioner McKinney, that is a good question. That is something that we are currently looking at and reviewing with our pavement management team. We have some roads that have been chip sealed 5 or 6 times. They still look effective, but is that still the strategy you want to keep going with those roads? So we have put together a study that we're looking at to see if those roads just got a crack seal and the chip seal still looks to be in good condition, do we need to chip seal it again? We're looking at those aspects, but there is no study currently that says once you've done 4 chip seals, it's no longer effective. It's something, depending on your area, how does it look?
Okay, good. That's good to know. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Lloyd, and thank you for highlighting the communication and collaboration work that you all are doing. I know that folks are getting those communications and anticipating the work ahead, so thank you. All right, the next work session that we have is 2025 to 2029 Integrated 5-Year Work Plan, Public and Partner Agency Request Prioritization Ranking Review. And Rebecca Phillips, welcome.
Good afternoon, Madam President, Commissioners. For the record, Rebecca Phillips, Transportation Planner with the Planning and Program Department here at ACHD. I come before you today to review what we have heard from our partner agencies, share some key themes of our public outreach effort, and provide an overview of our most recent prioritization ranking effort. As a reminder, here's a brief snapshot of the key dates and milestones throughout the development of the 25-29 Integrated 5-Year Work Plan. As you know, this is an extremely lengthy process, and we are just about at the halfway mark in plan development. First, let's dive into what we have heard from the public. Our new and improved ACHD public outreach tool went live on January 9th and ran for 1 month, closing on February 9th. This tool allowed the public to comment on and rank projects that have been identified through an existing plan. This includes our neighborhood plans, the adopted 24-28 Integrated 5-Year Plan, Bike Master Plan, and CIP. The public could also drop a pin to suggest a new project. We received 783 total comments this year and over 3,000 page views, 502 comments on identified projects, and 281 comments on new suggestion comments. In the identified projects column, there are the top 5 projects. The number in the parentheses after the project name corresponds to the number of comments we received. Eckerd Bridge coming out on top with very high support overall for bridge reconstruction and ped improvements, followed by Collister Drive, State to Hill Road, and ending with Amity, Linder, and Victory, all with a common theme of support for roadway widening. And over on the right-hand side, you'll find the top new project suggestions broken down by geographical area. I would also like to add that we have received formal letters from the Bicycle Advisory Committee, Sunset Neighborhood Association, East End Neighborhood Association, and the East End Neighborhood Association, sorry. All of these letters and the full list of public comments have been provided to you and are attached to the staff report on our website for public viewing. Next, we will go over what we heard from our partners. As a reminder, kickoff letters were sent out on December 13th to all cities: Boise, Eagle, Garden City, Kuna, Meridian, and Star, the 3 school districts, Boise School District, West Ada, and Kuna School District, Ada County, Boise State University, and Valley Regional Transit. Staff held a partner agency kickoff meeting on January 9th, to provide an overview of the prioritization process, give details on list submission and project placement, address any questions or concerns, and discuss our new public outreach platform. And from January 9th to March 15th, ACHD staff remained available to our partner agencies by providing one-on-one meetings upon request, answering questions via phone or email, and reviewing draft submissions. And I'd like to note that we've received prioritization lists from all of our partner agencies. So in these next coming slides, I will highlight the top requests from each of our partner agencies. So we've grouped these in alphabetical orders. So starting with Ada County, their prioritization list included 51 total projects. Coming out on top for roads and intersections was the Eckerd Road Bridge project. This project is currently under concept phase, moving into 2025. For community programs, their number 1 is Kent Street, Chinden to Alworth. This project is part of our Access to Opportunity bundle, currently under design. And City of Boise's list included a total of 85 projects. This is the final year for the St. Luke's Master Transportation component. Their next highest is State Street and Pierce Park. This project is currently on track to start construction in 2025. And from their community programs list, 15th and 16th takes the top spot. If you'll remember, this was a late addition to their requests last year, so it was added in the out years for a concept phase. We received 77 total project requests from Boise School District, their top one being 13th and Franklin Street, and that one will be constructed in 2025 with our rapid implementation efforts. We received 17 projects from Boise State University, their top request being Capitol Boulevard Vista to the Greenbelt. This project is currently scheduled to begin design in 2025. City of Eagle submitted 21 projects total, with Eagle and State coming out on top. The first phase of that project is currently under construction, scheduled to be completed in 2025. And Garden City submitted 20 total projects, highlighting Adams 49th to 37th as their top priority, which is currently programmed to begin a concept phase, also in 2025. City of Kuna submitted 43 projects on their priority list. Both the City of Kuna and Kuna School District have the intersection of Avalon and Kay as their top priority. We are actively engaged with the city on the development of those projects. Kuna School District submitted 39 projects total. Their number 1 community programs project is Porter Street in Cambridge. This project is currently programmed to begin design in 2027. Let's go back. So we received 112 total projects this year from the City of Meridian, their top road and intersection project being Linder Overland to Franklin. And the top community programs being Stoddard, Victory to Overland, and this project has been designed. City of Star sent us 33 project requests, with Star Chinden to State Highway 44 as their only road and intersection request, and Pollard Lane, Floating Feather to Star Middle School at the top for community programs. And lastly, Valley Regional Transit sent over 31 total projects, highlighting State Street, Collister to 36th for their road and intersection project, and Maple Grove Edna pedestrian crossing for community programs. West Ada School District sent 56 total projects this year, with Linder Pine to Ustick at the top for road and intersection, and Valley Heights Drive and Paris Lateral Canal for community programs. And again, just to recap, these are the top requests received from all of our partners. The full list of project requests have been provided to you in the attachments and are visible to our public on the webpage by clicking on the link on our meeting agenda. So now let's go through the results of our 2024 prioritization ranking effort. This industry-leading ranking criteria was adopted in 2022. This effort involved ranking of all projects not currently in the integrated 5-year plan. Projects are derived from existing adopted efforts, such as neighborhood plans, the bike master plan, and the capital improvement plan. They also include requests made by our partner agencies and the public. And this year, we were successfully able to rank 598 projects, 466 of those being community programs projects, and 132 were roadway and intersection projects. However, I might add, this is not an exhaustive list. This is a preliminary review of all of the projects that we have available. And each year we will add to the pool of projects that are ranked. And also coming soon will be the on-deck prioritization ranking list, which Christy mentioned to you guys last week. This list will be a full list of all ranked projects currently awaiting inclusion into the 5-year plan. Additionally, we are excited to announce that we are working on developing a landing page for our prioritization efforts that will better serve to help the public and our partners with understanding the prioritization process and to provide more transparency. And so while we are still in the early stages of the webpage development, we plan to launch the webpage in conjunction with the draft plan. And this information will be tied directly to the plan and updated annually. Okay, so here is a high-level look at the road and intersection projects. We were able to rank 132 total projects using the criteria listed on the right. And that's all out of a 100-point scale. And these projects consist of major arterial roadways and intersections. And so listed out on the left-hand side are the top 5 results, with a 5-mile Lake Hazel to Amity in the lead with 58 points. There's a lot of slides here. Now let's take a look at our community programs results. And on the left is a snapshot of the ranking criteria used for this pool of projects, again with a total possible point scale of 100. Listed on the right are the top 5 highest ranking projects. And I would also like to notate that upon completion of this year's ranking effort, all of the top ranked projects in each category were generally tied and aligned with our partners' top priorities. So you might be wondering, how do we use all of this information? So all of these elements aid tremendously in making programming decisions. They help us to consider top priorities of our partners and the public. It provides us with a good look at project comparison against our adopted ranking criteria. It provides us with data on projected costs and tracking level of efforts currently completed. And of course, it allows us the means to bring all of this data back to you for your ultimate consideration and final direction. So what's in store next? We will be back before you with a work session on the budget integrated 5-year plan on June 12th. July 10th, we will be back before you with another work session on the initial draft. And July 18th, we'll be holding our budget and integrated 5-year public open house. Followed by August 28th, the fiscal year 25-26 budget adoption hearing. And then lastly, the 25-29 integrated 5-year adoption hearing on September 25th. And with that, commissioners, I will stand for any questions.
Commissioner Hanson?
No, I'll share my comments with you guys on Friday on specific projects. I just wanted, I think looking through the slides that you presented, the line between a roadway and intersection project and sort of the lump of the rest, which we call community projects, even the way in which it was prioritized by our partners, Meridian listed Linder Pine to Ustick as its top community program, and the same project, Linder Pine to Ustick, was the top roadway project and intersection project for Meridian School District. So there really is a fine line between them, and it just seems to me, other than the fact that, yeah, some qualify for impact fee funds and others don't, some aspects, the distinction doesn't make sense to me. And it gets confusing having two categories. It's like a list is a list, top on down. And the other is, of course, the number of projects on a particular street. You know, and you heard the number of examples where actually it makes sense to call it one project. Warm Springs, I noticed, you know, it's a project that we've done some scoping on Warm Springs. We're in the process of scoping it, and yet there are separate projects for crossings. So it's like, I'm not sure how we figure that out, and that reduces the number and helps us understand, okay, what to prioritize rather than pulling out, you know, having 5 or 6 different projects on basically, you know, a half-mile segment of street.
Yeah, so Madam President, Commissioners, like I mentioned, this is just a preliminary list of the projects that we do have available. Once we start moving those projects into our scoping phases, we do take into account each area. Like you mentioned, there's crossings and other particular areas of that corridor that you might be seeing the duplication in that community programs list. So we do take a full look at what else is involved and what the neighborhood plans are asking for. And then we will loop those all into that scoping phase.
No, I appreciate that. I think I also want to drill down on how it's like the little black box of numbers for priorities. You know, how did Beacon end up being up at the top when it's never been at the top before? And other things that have been waiting still hasn't made the top 10, as it were. So I've got to figure out how this prioritization system works, because it might be we need to evaluate sort of the same kind of criteria that the feds do on resiliency, that those with power and influence and money tend to have more power and influence and money to move things up the list, and those neighborhoods that have been dealing with problems for many years still have to wait many more years. So maybe there's something we can identify to help us recognize the disparity.
Thanks, Rebecca. I appreciate the work that's going to be going into the website to try to, you know, create more transparency on projects that aren't exactly listed in the integrated 5-year work plan, but to help give people kind of a status update or some way to check on that. So I think that's great. And then I do have a question after, will there be another public kind of survey? I didn't see that on the list, but is there an open survey for the public to weigh in on the draft?
Yes, there absolutely is. So once we release the initial draft on July 11th, we are going back to the public and our partners for draft comments on that. And so we will have another outreach period. That period is July 8th to August 14th. And then as well as the public open house that I mentioned is on July 18th.
All right, great, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and that is everything for this week, so see you all later.